Want to catch a big walleye?
Oh, there you go. That's a nice fish.
Ice fish right here. Tony Roach and the Rapala Pro staff tackled Tony's favorite lake. They even spill a few of their best fish catching secrets.
This week on Dialed In Angling, we are on the shores of Lake Mille Lacs. We're calling it first late ice or late first ice, however you look at it. It's mid-January, temps are finally favorable for getting out on the big pond. You know, today I've recruited a bunch of Rapala Pro staffers to help me. We're gonna get out, we're gonna drill holes, we're gonna show you how we go about finding walleyes. About a month and a half ago, we were out here scouting on the water for early ice. You know, now it's a month and a half later. We're gonna see if some of those tactics are gonna correlate. We're also gonna show you some of our daytime presentations, how you go about finding fish on the big pond. You're gonna wanna watch this episode. It's gonna be epic. Made it to spot number 1. We're gonna do a little ice trolling out here. You know, even though it's mid-January, we're still following that staked path out that the resorts make. That's always the best bet. And then checking every inch of ice. There's so many inconsistencies on the lake this year, even though we're having colder temperatures. You know, I just don't wanna run into any issues. It's awesome. I got a great group of anglers out here today, all guys that love getting after it. Some of the best ice anglers in the country. So I cannot wait to drill these spots out and start catching some fish. So we're ice trolling down this break, and that's pretty typical. I call it ice trolling. Some people call it hole hopping. We've got some guys with forward-facing sonar. They're kind of scoping it out. These fish haven't heard noise for almost 2 months now. So we're drilling, but we're not drilling on top of each other. We're really being conscious about spacing out our holes and keeping noise to a minimum.
Calvin Schweel with Rapala Ice Force. I'm out here fishing on Mille Lacs. With the addition of forward-facing sonar in today's world, you do have the ability to really drill a few holes, put the forward-facing sonars down, and then go look for those fish where they're, what depth they're using, where they're going. Are they going away from you? Are they coming to you? And then kind of drill a couple holes, set up on them, and hopefully intercept those fish. All right, just got out here, set up the dead stick, walked away, and it hit it. So we are on it. Nice Mille Lacs walleye. Oh, hands dipped in, he's all in. Oh, would you look at that? Woo. First late ice Mille Lacs walleye, baby. Look at that thing. Just a chunk.
Nice key.
Oh man, look at that thing.
That's why you come to Mille Lacs Lake. Daytime giants, nice fish. A 23, 24 incher. Sweet.
Yeah, look at that.
Look how fat these fish are.
Oh man.
They are eating well.
Didn't even get a chance to set up the iFish Pro yet. I just dropped it to go grab it.
We've been talking noise all year, and it seems like every Dialed In Angling we've been on, we've had to be conscious of noise, and this is no different. Out of Mille Lacs here, again, these fish have not heard sounds of humans for almost 2 months, so drilling holes. It's amazing how these fish are filtering back in the breaks. That means they're feeding and aggressive. I'm I'm not even done drilling. We're already picking up fish on this break line, but Mille Lacs is full of structure. Hey, when we come back, I'm gonna show you how to effectively mark and drill out structure so you can stay on walleyes all day long.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Strike Master, VMC Hooks, Rapala, and Suffix.
Hi, welcome back to Dialed In Angling. Today we are on Mille Lacs Lake doing a little ice trolling. I've got the Rapala crew behind me. We're working these breaks and catching fish. It's early late ice or late early ice, however you look at it. The conditions have kept us off Mille Lacs until mid-January, but guess what? We're out here now and the walleyes are biting.
Oh, there you go.
Oh man. Nope, this is on a bowl spoon. Missed them, had them on for a second. Thought I lost my chance. Oh, it's a nice one. Look at that. Oh man, look at that. Oh, 24. All right guys, just caught a beautiful 24-incher out here on Mille Lacs on a bowl spoon. I believe this is the 1/8 ounce. Just tipped with a little fat head and it rocked it.
When you have a lake the size of Mille Lacs with lots of structure, there's lots of areas for you to roam. For me, I like to use my four-wheeler and my map, and I'll drive the break line. So when I get to a spot, we'll set up on a high percentage area, and then I'll just take my wheeler and I'll actually mark out the edges of the structure in the snow with my tires, and then we'll come back and drill that out. And it's great when you've got a group of anglers like this that are willing to ice troll behind you and work these holes effectively. It's nice to stay on the move. You pick up the active, aggressive fish, and then you move on. There you go, Mitch. On the dead stick. Popped a few on dead sticks now, a few on spoons. Oh, nice fish. Beauty. Woo.
Mille Lacs walleye.
Oh, nice fish, dude. The sun's popped out here a little bit. It was all cloudy most of the morning, but as we get into later morning, even into afternoon, we're starting to slide out to a little bit deeper water, just staying on the move, trying to pick up those aggressive fish, and then we'll circle right back around to those high percentage areas as soon as peak feeding period hits.
Here comes one. There we go. Ooh, this one feels a little bit better. Yeah, typical Mille Lacs midday bite. I mean, it's high sun. I think we're right before noon right now, and we're just running down the deepest water we could find in this first late early ice. There we are. Nice healthy Mille Lacs walleye.
Well, we're in full-blown ice trolling mode. We're catching them up and down the break. We've got a few on dead sticks. We're definitely getting them jigging. But hey, you're gonna wanna stay tuned, because when we come back, we've got some of the best ice fishermen in the country out here ice trolling with us today. They all fish differently, and they're gonna give you some insight and some secrets how you can put more walleyes on the ice. First, we're gonna send it over to Travis Frank for today's ice bite.
If you followed the news at all this year in the ice fishing world, you've probably heard a few horror stories. Anglers floating away on sheets of ice, anglers falling through the ice, and sadly, a couple of anglers that lost their life after they dropped through. We all know that ice is never 100% safe, and man, this year it just seems like it's reached a whole new level. That's why companies a couple years ago decided to make ice suits like this with floating technology built inside of them. This right here is a Strike Master Pro suit. And with the bibs and the jacket that I'm wearing, if I drop through, I can float for up to 2 hours. I can tell you from experience after dropping through the ice before that when you go into this water, it literally takes your breath away. It's very scary and your life is at risk. I feel grateful that I'm here today after going through the ice years ago, which is why I think it's important to talk about suits like this. I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy the Strike Master suit. I just want you to consider any floating suit the next time you go to make a purchase. This one right here is extremely comfortable, very warm. It's breathable, it's waterproof. It has magnetic pockets, which are sweet. The zippers are long, easy to get in and out of a big warm suit like this. A lot of padding, but above all, this thing floats, and that is huge. You're not gonna be able to swim with the boots on like this and all the layers. This suit will float, and these picks will help me pull myself back out of the water so I can live to fish another day. Think about a floating ice suit the next time you go to the store. You never know. It just might save your life.
Dialed In Angling. Brought to you by Strike Master, VMC Hooks, iFish Pro Tip-Ups, and Suffix. Hey there, I'm Bill Shirk in with today's Dialed In Angling Ice Report. With sub-zero temps in the forecast, we can finally start to transition away from ice reports and into fishing reports. Rapala Pro Nick Sakala is up in central Minnesota. Obviously, the ice on Mille Lacs is improving. What about a little bit further north? Places like Leech, Winnie, and Cass.
You know, surprisingly, Bill, we're getting some really good ice starting to form. Leech Lake, we're seeing anywhere from 9 to even 11, 12 inches every day. We're gaining ice like crazy with the sub-zero temps. The bite is it's been pretty good, actually, Bill. It feels like it's kind of early ice, but it is middle of the season, so that middle of the lake structure, humps, stuff like that are going to be your best bet for catching walleye.
Heading west, it's time to check in on South Dakota conditions with Strike Master Pro Marcus Quam. Marcus, pike, walleyes, or perch?
We're seeing mostly walleyes right now. Few perch, few pike.
How deep are they right now?
We're still fishing shallower. I would say we're in the mid-teens on most of our stuff in some of these smaller basins before we get into the big lakes.
Up on Lake of the Woods, some pretty decent ice, has a lot of people out hunting for fish.
Yeah, we're doing really well up here on the ice making. We have pretty good consistent ice, that 12 to 16 inches, but we do have spots with 7 to 9 inches, causing a little bit of anxiousness. That's why we're not allowing wheelhouses out yet. But tell you what, the bite is phenomenal. The bowl spoon and the rattle and roach spoon are the ticket right now. Jig away and watch what happens. The fish are going nuts up here on Lake of the Woods.
Finally, a look at things over in Wisconsin. Captain Adam Rasmussen is keeping an eye on conditions.
We finally got the weather that we need to start making some ice over here. The inland lakes are getting better. Now you can start traveling around on machines on most of those lakes, and we're finally starting to see ice on the Bay of Green Bay. Keep in mind, whenever you're fishing up here, if this whole Bay of Green Bay is not locked in, do not ever go across the crack. Pay attention to the wind. So use some common sense there if you're gonna come over.
Back in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota, we finally also have ice starting to form. Smaller lakes people are getting out onto, and some of the bigger bodies of water, we are finally starting to see those lock up. Be sure you check with your local bait shop before you adventure out.
Welcome back. We're on Mille Lacs Lake doing some ice trolling with a few of my buddies, some Rapala pro staffers, and some really good sticks. You know, Mother Nature has finally allowed us to get out here. You know, some of the guys I'm fishing with today are some of the best ice anglers in the country. They each have some insight into how they're catching fish today and how you can catch fish as well.
Hey guys, it's Key Kong here, and a quick tip for you guys. A lot of times it's midday now, or if it's really sunny out, one of the really cool secrets that we got going here is a drop shot. Now, for those who don't know what a drop shot is, all it really is a hook on top, sinker on the bottom. You can go with what I did today, which is a spin shot with a VMC tungsten 1/8 ounce. And one of the really big deals that I do is a lot of times I'll bring my panfish rod, believe it or not, just so that I can detect those very, very light bites, because the whole trick to it is don't do a lot of shaking. You kind of just lift up, measure it up with that fish, kind of hold it there, and a lot of times they'll hit it.
What's up, guys? It's Derek. Here just talking a little bit about LiveScope and kind of utilizing it to see fish behavior. So a lot of times you hear LiveScope, you catch the fish right away, but that's not always the case. Fish are a bit finicky right now. I'm marking a fish down here. I can tell it's a walleye. It's hugging the bottom. It looks a little bit bigger than those perch. But the nice thing about LiveScope is you can utilize it to gather information to see how a fish reacts to the bait that you're using. So, oh, he's got it right here. Oh, there you go. That's a nice fish. So with the LiveScope, I was able to see how that walleye kind of reacted. You know, just moving the bait to whatever way triggered him. It looked like a dead stick was the key. So again, that was a nice thing about LiveScope. It's kind of hard to do with just a traditional flasher. So, oh yeah, that's a nice one. Oh, that's a really nice one. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Calvin Schwill here with Rapala Ice. Out here ice trolling on Mille Lacs Lake here, first ice. And as we're moving up and down these break lines, what works for me, a quick little tip, is calling these fish in. Obviously, we're not going to drill and land on these walleyes, so we really need to call them in. So what I like to do is just a quick little short hops of cadence. Nothing comes in on my flasher. I can't see nothing come in. I will lift my rod way up to get that jig 6, 8, 9 feet off the bottom and slowly let it flutter down. If you're using a big flutter spoon, it's going to go way outside your cone angle and it's going to slide back in, calling these fish in. So a couple of quick little pumps right above the bottom, 6, 8 inches, maybe a foot. Don't see nothing coming up. A big swoop up like this, let it fall in the slack line, and that spoon is fluttering down, causing flash. Looks like a wounded bait fish. It's going to draw those walleyes in to pique their interest.
Hey guys, just a quick tip on the Strike Master bait puck. A lot of folks think this is only for maggots or spikes, what have you, but it actually, when you're out hole hopping like this, to save you time going back and forth to your bait tank, it holds minnows just fine, especially fatheads. They keep just fine in here. You put a little bit of water, keep it in a pocket, it stays warm, fish don't freeze or your bait doesn't freeze, and you've got it on the go the whole time.
Huh. He came back, huh?
There you go, Britton. Nice job.
The old dead stick.
Yes, sir. Hey, welcome back. We're doing a little ice trolling on Mille Lacs. We've got the Rapala ice team out here, a bunch of guys from the team, Chris Britton from Rapala, and we're catching fish. Just glad to be on Mille Lacs Lake.
Nice fish.
Beauty. I'll take that any day.
That's right.
You know, it's really important to move these dead sticks as we ice troll, you know. Don't forget about the dead sticks. It's easy to just pick up a jig and start moving. The iFish Pros though, you know, you drop them in a hole, you can move them way faster than you can move any other form of dead stick, so I love it. Nice fish, Mitch. Beauty.
Hey guys, Jamie Dittman here for Rapala Ice. Everybody out here's got a different color of lure, different profile of lure, different presentation, and in a short time, if you got fish biting, you can put it all together and figure out what's working today. So that's what we've been doing, just seeing what works, and with 7 different lures down there, you can dial them in pretty quick.
Here we are, just came back to those old holes from earlier in the day where I caught a couple back and forth, and this nice 18-incher decided to come out and play right as the sun is setting.
Man, it feels great to be back on Mille Lacs Lake, chasing walleyes, ice trolling finally after this crazy winter we've had. Late, early ice, early, late ice, whatever you want to call it. We're out here catching walleyes, having a blast. Hopefully the guys and myself gave you some tips and some insight how they go about catching fish, how I go about catching walleyes, and helping you get dialed in.